Today, the Greens will yet again argue for the repeal of the Pulp Assessment Act. Does anyone doubt the outcome?
No.
Today, we're here to witness another attempt by the Greens to have that legislation repealed, the Pulp Assessment Act 2007. The debased rump that postures as a parliament inside that building has provided no leadership and no vision for Tasmania except the dystopia of turning Tasmania into the Borneo of the Southern Ocean. The ironic outcome, if those Labor and Liberal politicians and their fellow travellers in the upper house would but wake from their sleep of reason to face reality for just this once, is that guns and the logging industry are on the brink of collapse. More than 7 years ago, the Lennon government, with the collusion of the opposition Liberals, decided to do what had to be done to deliver for guns the dream of turning Tasmania into a world-scale pulp producer. It wasn't a dream, it was a nightmare, and it unleashed a whole box of horrors, the most despicable of which we are revisiting here today. The most shameful episode in our political history took place here in March 2007. Coached by Premier Lennon, Guns withdrew from the RPDC, the Resource Planning and Development Commission. In short order, in an obscenely short order, Guns produced a piece of legislation. Guns produced a piece of legislation. They have never denied writing it. It became the Pulp Mill Assessment Act 2007. I was here. Many of you were here. We saw what happened. Lawyers, heavies and lobbyists from Guns, the industry and the union, the CFMEU, escorted that legislation, now commonly known as the Fast Track Assessment, through their parliament. For that is what it had become, their parliament, to be rubber stamped by a bunch of imposters, a bunch of lickspittles and lackeys pretending to be parliamentarians. Of the original 21 members of the House of Assembly who did Guns bidding on that day, only 9 remain. 2 premiers have also fallen off the twig.
Hooray!
Hooray! And the 3rd may well follow.
Yay!
When business and government merge, that is the first precondition for what is called fascism. The merging of government and business has caused a huge disruption in Tasmania. It has been ongoing now for nearly 7 years. And for that period of time, Tasmania has been held back by the manic obsession of both Labor and Liberal with facilitating a world-scale pulp industry in Tasmania on behalf of one favoured company. And I should point out, the only countries in the world that are getting craft pulp mills are what we used to call third world countries. Third world countries. We may call them developing countries now. More social conflict and disgust with politicians and the political system will be the outcome of today's predictable vote for a continuance of the systemic corruption that has beset this parliament. They don't even know they are corrupt. They think it's how you do things here. That Labor and Liberal politicians and their fellow travellers in the upper house were the willing patsies of this gross abuse of parliamentary democracy should never be excused, glossed over, forgotten or diminished in any way. Their actions in doing the bidding of a corporation demonstrated a breathtaking contempt for the institution of parliamentary democracy by the very people whose sacred duty it was to uphold.